Hi, my name is Richard Crawford, host of Supply and Demand, an enlightening webcast show where we delve into the dynamic world of the global supply chain and where we navigate through the complexities, disruptions, and innovations that shape this vital network of interconnected businesses. From sourcing raw materials to delivering finished products, we'll uncover the challenges that arise at each stage and explore the strategies for optimizing efficiency and sustainability. And each week, we'll highlight and discuss a specific supply chain event. And of course, I'm joined each week by my co-host and CEO of the Atlas Network, Mr. Kareem Kafuri. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Richard, how are you? So excited to be doing this with you as always, and very excited about this show and our guest, and talking more and more about ASCM.
Yeah, so let's introduce our guest. And today, and I'm actually really excited because we're joined by a guest who we will get to work with very closely in September when we attend and speak at the 2024 ASCM event in Austin, Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Abe Eshkenazi, CEO of the Association for Supply Chain Management. Abe, a very, very warm welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Richard. It's a pleasure to join you.
And I hope I didn't butcher your name. I hope I got it right. I did my research. I tried my best.
I think we all can accept different variations of our names today. I think anytime you're called upon, I think you answer the bell.
Now, as you know, I'm on here with Kareem, my co-host. And we're, as I said, both very excited to speak to you today. Now, I know September seems quite far off for a lot of people at the moment, but for you, it's tomorrow, right? Yeah. Basically. So we do appreciate that the time you're taking to chat with us today, because I know you have to be very, very busy. So, Abe, for those who are not too familiar with the event in September, can you give us a little insight into what the event is all about?
Absolutely. It is the largest gathering of supply chain professionals that are dedicated not only to improving their professional development, but identifying areas that they can improve their organization, which is really an extraordinary opportunity for individuals to not only learn from each other, but to share. And in today's times, in terms of all the turmoil that our supply chain professionals are facing, it's just a great opportunity to take a time out and to reflect on not only the challenges that you're facing, but some of the opportunities that other organizations have taken advantage of to advance their organizations. I think in these times of Zoom calls and Teams and all the work that we have, it's a great opportunity to just reflect on our, not only the core of what supply chain is, but to advance the industry, and the commitment that these supply chain professionals have to their jobs and their organizations is just extraordinary.
Yeah, I love these events because, from someone who doesn't have a huge background in the supply chain logistics world, I find when I go to these events that different parts of the supply chain, although they're all under the same umbrella, don't necessarily know what the next guy's doing in the timeline. And it's always good to see people get together and discuss ideas and get an insight into what else is going on in the industry. You agree, Kareem?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I mean, first and foremost, Abe, very nice to meet you. I'm surprised we've never met each other yet. I'm in a lot of conferences and so on, and I'm thrilled to be there in September. We're actually going to be taking a nice table there, and I'm going to be actually releasing my debut book, which is all about supply chain management. So I can't think of a more fitting place to do that than this beautiful show. So very excited to be there. And
now, Kareem, I hope in editing we have this like round of applause and all these balloons going off. Like, hey!
Yeah, you never know. But I mean, I guess the point that I'm saying is that what a great opportunity to just get together supply chain management professionals. We really have a holistic view of the entire space. There are a lot of breakdowns. As you said, Richard, many organizations have just been so siloed for such a long time. If you're a transport person, you're this. If you're a procurement person, you're that. And the reality of it is that when you have something like a pandemic or other major disruptions, it shows the importance of how you have to really know the upstream and the downstream, and really be able to know holistically what part in the chain you play and what upstream or downstream may impact you to be most efficient or resilient or have options when things can and do break down, which they do quite often in supply chain. And so, yeah, I mean, to have more of these events that are collaborative, I've seen the agendas that you all are going to be putting on, and the sessions is exactly what's needed. It's more education, it's more cross industry, it's breaking down these silos. So, I mean, I'm thrilled to be there. I'm hoping we'll get a chance to really spend some good time together there, Abe, when we're there, and then hopefully in many other events to come. So I'm so happy you're on the show, and very excited to be spending the time together in September too. So.
No, absolutely. It's always a great opportunity to talk about supply chain. I'm sure most of our audience 3 to 4 years ago didn't even know the term supply chain or what that involved. I think there's a much greater awareness of supply chain right now, but I think the challenges that have been thrust upon supply chain professionals over the past 3 to 5 years have really changed the role and responsibility of the supply chain professional. Now they're in the front. Now they're sitting at the C-suite. Now they're having to lead an organization through a number of turmoil, a number of disruptions that we've all, again, I hate to say it, but we've become accustomed to disruptions. And this is the life that the supply chain professionals live today in terms of the additional responsibilities that they've, attached to them. And to your point, this is a great opportunity to learn from each other and to share. I can think of no greater opportunity than getting together with other supply chain professionals and sharing with not only the challenges that they face, but some of the solutions that they've encountered as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry, one more thing, Richard. What I was going to say too, Abe, which I find very fascinating too, is the level of education at the undergraduate and master's degree level across the United States and abroad as well, where, so many universities are really incorporating supply chain management majors and degrees and executive education. So I am looking forward to not just what we're learning today, but what also those new generations are going to be coming out of school with those degrees, with fresh ideas, and be able to be a part of kind of a new generation of this too. So, again, very excited. Sorry, Richard, didn't mean to cut you off.
That's all right. I was just going to say, what better place to do it than in Austin? What a fun town that is. Have you guys done it in Austin before? Is it every year in Austin, or do you pick a
No, we've moved around. What we try to do is try to identify different locations across the United States so that we can, I know that there's challenges for individuals for time, and we know that today. The time constraints is probably the toughest thing that organizations need to deal with today, not only in forecasting, but in terms of employment, in terms of retention. So getting employees and keeping them on the job is really critical today. So taking that time out, we got to make it valuable for these individuals. And that's why we go to different locations across the United States as well as Europe. I mean, we had our European event a couple of weeks ago, and as well as I participated in our South African event last week as well. We need to go to where the professionals are, and we need to make it easy for them to get the access to information and to the networking opportunities that this event provides.
Now, you've given me the perfect segue by talking about time constraints to go straight into our hot seat segment, Abe. So basically, this is where we're going to ask you 3 questions, and you're going to answer them as close to 5 minutes as you possibly can. You can be under or over. You just have to be close. Now, and the reigning champion right now is 1 second over 5 minutes. So you're going to have to be within a half a second to beat it. But
that's a tough call, but we'll give it a throw.
Yeah, there's always that chance, right? And I will say this, I'll give you a little tip. Sometimes people don't realize actually how much time they have, and very often they stay under. So don't be afraid to get as much information out as you can when you're answering these questions. So are you ready, my friend? Take a deep breath.
Let's roll.
All right, my friend. Here we go. Starting now. Okay, question 1. What are some of the most impactful networking opportunities available at the ASCM Connect, and how can attendees leverage these for career and business growth?
Yeah, I think to your point first is the fact of getting together. I think in today's Zoom and our Teams calls, not only internally, but through our suppliers and through our partners, we've lost a lot of the one-to-one connections that these events provide. And this is a networking industry. We learn from each other, we share, and this is a great opportunity. So on the, more on the opportunities to engage, we have the welcome reception. Obviously, it's a kickoff event with provides not only an opportunity to meet other individuals, but to just engage in a much larger, audience. We have an after dark party afterwards, provide individuals an opportunity to engage. And then also the connection cafes. And I think this is one of the most important parts of the event itself, is an ability to immerse yourself in interactive workshops with other organizations and providers in terms of some of the topics that they're facing, not only in terms of cyber, but in terms of a lot of the talent development and a lot of the innovations, not only technological, but on the talent side as well. This is a great opportunity to not only ignite engagement and to identify where you can, implement some of these solutions, but more importantly, you can make a meaningful connection with a lot of individuals that are facing a lot of the same challenges that you're facing.
All right, I've got a question too for you, Abe. What are the latest trends and innovations in supply chain management that will be showcased at ASCM Connect?
Yeah, it's this is, I think, one of the areas that we're really pleased in terms of the content. We go through a number of vetting processes in terms of what are of interest to individuals through our top 10 trends, through a lot of dedicated research in terms of the media. And not surprisingly, the latest trends in innovation, they focus on a few key areas. First, stability, resiliency, and agility. Stability, everybody is looking to find a way to normalize their operations and to rebalance supply and demand. Obviously, the holy grail of any supply chain is to match your supply to your demand signals in the marketplace. The conference identifies a number of strategies that organizations can take to be much more resilient. And the resiliency factor has really taken on a significant focus for a lot of supply chain professionals, given the disruptions that we're facing, not only from the pandemic, but you've got the resulting, residual impact from the war in Ukraine, as well as the Red Sea and a whole host of other disruptions. It's crucial today to understand the global events and how they impact your organization and how you need to become much more resilient for your organization. The agility part is to allow individuals to say, you know what? We know that there's going to be disruptions. How do we take advantage of it? As opposed to saying, just get me back to where I was. Organizations are saying now disruptions are a part of our lives. Now we need to take advantage of that disruption and gain market share, gain efficiencies and effectiveness in serving our consumers. So that's a key aspect. Not surprisingly, a tremendous amount on digital and technologies and enablers. The gap that we identified in the pandemic on visibility and transparency theoretically has been filled. You can't find a supply chain professional who can go into the C-suite and say, I don't know who or what is in my supply chain. So theoretically, we fix the visibility. The challenge is that we now know all our players and all the partners and the activities in our supply chain. Good news. The bad news is we now know all the players and the activities in our supply chain. And we're finding out that we may not be as sustainable as we need to be or as resilient as we need to be. So the digital technologies and the transformation is taking on a significant part, not surprisingly, with AI and a focus on enabling digital transformation, a tremendous amount of focus on the technology side. I would be remiss if we didn't focus on the talent and the leadership that is necessary for individuals. Tremendous amount of resources are being spent on technology right now. Our hope is that the organization is matching that investment in their talent. You need to make sure that you have individuals that can critically evaluate the information and problem solve, and not just take the technology, at face value. Question, understanding the inputs and the outputs from that technology. And leadership. Historically, supply chain professionals were not, perceived as leaders in their organization. I think we flipped that coin very quickly here and identified that supply chain leaders are not only leaders, but they're transformational leaders. They're not only looking behind, they're looking forward and saying, how do we transform our organization? And then lastly, sustainability and circularity. It still is a hot topic for a lot of organizations. The investment may not be there today as high as the rhetoric. Our hope is that we continue to focus on circularity and sustainability in our supply chains to ensure that the consumers are knowledgeable about what's in their supply chain, how their products got to their doorstep, and more importantly, are we sustainable as an industry? I think everybody is concerned about that. We'll showcase a number of sustainable activities. We are a signer to the UN Global Compact in terms of our sustainability. Our focus is to help and enable organizations not only to be effective and efficient, but to be sustainable as well.
Cool. All right. Question 3. Why is it crucial for industry leaders to stay updated on these developments?
It's all you need to do is take a look at the media and see the challenges every day that organizations are identifying as part of their supply chain. I think those of us in the industry 4 to 5 years ago, you would rarely see the term supply chain in a corporate report. Take a look at any corporate report and see that one that doesn't have supply chain as a critical aspect of their organizations. That's first. It is and will be a competitive advantage if you're able to, create a supply chain that is not only efficient, that is just in time and addresses just in case, but is also sustainable. That's the holy grail for a lot of organizations right now. Just in time is not dead. It's just taken a pause. I think the focus on just in case with higher inventories, reducing our risk profile for organizations, I think that's a key aspect of it. Risk mitigation historically had not been part of the supply chain professional's role and responsibility. Now we've got compliance. Now I've got risk management. Now I've got resiliency. Now I've got sustainability, all underneath the supply chain professional. We did not necessarily train these individuals, but look how they've accepted the responsibility. Look how they're embracing the challenge that's before them. So that's a key aspect of it. Additionally, you'll learn from others that have done it and have been successful at doing it. So not only do you learn from them, but you can go back and apply that content immediately on the job without having to do a whole ERP project for the organization. These are implementable strategies. Lastly, attracting and retaining talent for your organization. I can think of no greater challenge than organizations that focus on their talent, not only recruiting a diverse talent workforce, but retaining that workforce to ensure that you have qualified, competent individuals, and that means an investment in professional development. Organizations are expending a tremendous amount of technology. Match that with your investment in people. If you ask any organization, what's their number one asset? I challenge them to say anything other than their talent. Well, invest in your number one asset. That's your talent.
Mm-hmm. Right. All right, Abe. This is the point where I say, it doesn't matter about the 5 minutes.
Where are we?
It's the information that matters and how insightful it is and how engaging you are. So let's just leave it at that. Let's just say you were a little bit over, but very, very insightful, very, very engaging and very, very interesting. So we don't care about no 5 minutes, do we, Kareem?
No, not at all. I mean,
I'll tell you what, when you come to Austin, I'll give you back those seconds on stage.
I believe we are on the stage together, so maybe I'll call for them back again.
Yeah.
There was something interesting you said in there about the rhetoric and the investment are so far apart. And it's not just the supply chain industry; it's in my industry as well, in the travel industry. There's a lot of people out there saying, oh yeah, we're sustainable and we're going to put a lot of resources and a lot of money behind it. And then you say, well, here's some opportunities. It's like, well, we don't have the budget for that. And well, the rhetoric and the investment are still very far apart and have to come together. But I think you're right.
Buzzwords and budget. Buzzwords and budget are two different things.
Yeah, right. But I think we'll get there. I think it's becoming more and more important every day. So that's a good thing.
I agree with you. I think one of the areas that we need to focus on as well is the consumer, providing them information, having a knowledgeable consumer about what's in their supply chain. I think supply chain professionals are key in not only explaining into their organization, but to their consumers as well and their patients as well in terms of what and how effective their supply chains are. We're coming into an era where information is ubiquitous. You can get it anywhere, anytime. Yet providing a consumer information about what's in their product has become fairly challenging for a lot of organizations. I think more consistency in terms of accountability and reporting, I think will go a long way. I think associations such as ASCM, as other industry associations, have a responsibility as well to enable organizations to identify role responsibility as well as accountability within the supply chain. We're not shying away from the responsibility. Supply chain professionals and organizations are taking this head on. To your point, though, Richard, it has to come to a point that we all agree in terms of what information is available, how to identify what our reporting requirements are, whether it be scope 3 or otherwise for organizations. Information is out there. The transformation, the digital transformation enables our access to information. I think we need to use that data with qualified individuals to enable our supply chains to be much more sustainable, not only for their organizations, but for the community and the consumer and the patient alike.
Now, I think that's absolutely correct.
I would say one more thing too, to your point, Abe, where we started the conversation, which is about supply chain professionals getting together to learn not just about the industry and the trends, but also learn from each other. Yeah. And that kind of cross collaboration I find so important. To that point, I had thought that it was always such a great idea. I'm going to just throw it out there to you. ASCM can do it if you want. It's basically a situation where you walk the chain. Yeah. You literally physically walk the supply chain from the beginning part all the way to the end. And as you do this, you totally have this little expedition where you really see where each of these places connect to each other. Because, sometimes you go to these large scale conferences and it's like, here's a bunch of people and here's a bunch of transport people and here's a bunch of this and that and so on. But the reality of it is that I would love to see it in a way that you holistically walk through it. So logically, as a professional, you could say, I just came from up there, now I'm going down here and so on and so forth. So I throw it out there as an idea, but
all right, Kareem, I'm going to take you up on it, and I'm going to share with you a little preview. We have been working on a documentary on supply chain, and it's a 6-part series, and we will be releasing it in July, and we'll have a preview as well at one of the episodes in September as well. And we take a particular concept or a particular industry, whether it be food, apparel, or transportation or communications, and we trace 4 products from source all the way to recycle, reuse, and waste. Perfect. And we show how the supply chain not only addresses the needs, but does flow and all the handoffs that are necessary to make this effective. I look forward to sharing it with you, and more importantly, to do exactly as you just identified, to help individuals understand the complexity of this global supply chain and how effective it is and how resilient that it is. Yep. And I think this is a great opportunity. I'm looking forward to sharing this with you.
Very much so. And we're looking forward to definitely seeing you in September too, and spending some good time together and enjoying what a great event that you all are putting together.
It would make a good Disney ride. The supply chain logistics from A to Z.
That may be a little bit scary for a lot of individuals.
Right. A lot of kids will be scared never into the industry. All right, well, look, thank you very much. We're going to wrap it up here. Again, thank you so much for your time, considering that September is right around the corner, and I know you're very, very busy. But before we go, how can people get a hold of you and find out more about the show?
Just go to ASCM Connect and you'll find out all the various information about the location, about the hotels that are available, as well as the different opportunities. We've got great keynote speakers in Huffington, as well as Al Harris from Harvard, David Edelman from Harvard, as well as Gunther Steiner, one of the principals from the F1 teams. I'm a huge F1 fan, and I'm really, really excited about that aspect of the show. And of course, he's become quite the character from the show. But he is amazing, and I can't wait to meet him in person. Yeah, to talk about the supply chain of F1 is going to be just fascinating to see, how that works. But I think what we're providing is just a broad cross section. And obviously, the F1 race being in Austin later that year, we're giving away a couple of tickets to the F1 race for
Do I have
individuals
inside?
that
Do I have
register. Yeah.
inside chances? All right. Thank you, Abe. Very, very much appreciated. Kareem, how can people get a hold of you and stay in contact?
Sure. I'm on LinkedIn, Kareem Kafoury, for a lot of the philosophy and leadership stuff that I do. My main website is theatlasnetwork.com for all the supply chain solutions that we provide. And then I'll have a new site coming out, which is kareemkafoury.com for all of this book stuff and other kinds of things that I'll be doing in the future. But yeah, those are some places where I am.
Yeah, exciting stuff. Exciting. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. And don't forget to follow our LinkedIn and YouTube pages at the Supply and Demand Show. And we'll see you soon. Thank you.